What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Insta Good Show. I'm Seth. Glad to be with you today. We got a lot of great stuff I want to cover today. Really excited about it. So we're going to get into that. I think I have check me out at Seth Muse on Instagram or SethMuse.com. And I would love to connect with you there. And so today I want to talk about some of the frequently asked questions about third-party schedulers. And I want to show you Buffer and show you what it does for me. My internet is really spotty today. Just kind of glitched on you, I think. So I am really hoping we can get through this. If not, if this is terrible, I will record a video and upload it later, and you can check that out. So sorry if that's the case, but working on it. Here we go. I think we're good. Okay, so I wanted to share my screen today and with several things. And I want to show you first how Buffer works. So I'm going to share this really quick, and we're going to jump into some of these things. So here we go. Hopefully you can see my screen there. Yeah, there we go. Let's get my ugly mug out of the way. Here we go. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Now this is typically what Buffer looks like. Now I pay for the first tier of Buffer. Pricing for Buffer is about, if you pay annually, it's about $12 a month. So if you don't have a scheduling system of some sort that you can pop in content for days ahead at a time for multiple platforms, I highly recommend Buffer. I highly recommend you get something. There's a lot of other ones that are great. Hootsuite's great. Sprout Social is a little more expensive, but it's awesome. Analytics on Sprout Social, I hear, are fantastic. Buffer has that. You can see this little thing up here on the top, Analyze. You have to pay for that. But I don't usually get my analytics from the third-party scheduler because I don't always schedule everything in the third-party scheduler. So sometimes I'll have to do native things. Like I never do carousel posts through Buffer, even though it technically can do it. It's just kind of complicated. Maybe yours works a little better. So I tend to do those natively on Instagram. But for everything else, this first tier is great. And specifically talking about Instagram, when you have the free Buffer plan, you can schedule graphics to Instagram and video under a minute to Instagram. I believe you can also share stories on the free plan, but it's a reminder. Now, the graphic and the feed post I just described for the under 1 minute video will automatically post from Buffer. So, so if you have videos that are under a minute, that's great. It works perfectly. If you're a typical, can't stop talking kind of person, or your videos just tend to be way longer than a minute, and you've got a 3-minute interview videos, and that's the kind of stuff you're trying to post, then you'll still have to post those videos natively, unless you get the first tier of Buffer. Because what I have is I can still schedule videos that are under 10 minutes long, and it will upload them as an IGTV video automatically. I don't have to stay under that one limit. So if I pay for that first tier, Buffer will post long form video as well automatically to Instagram. So it has that option. Whenever you schedule things, you can say you want a long form or you want to shorten, just clip it. But I love that feature for Buffer because for Instagram, that's always the most difficult API to work with. That's always the most limited of what you can do from third parties. And so Buffer seems to have kind of figured out a good interface for that. And I know others can do it too, but I really like how they do it. So here's a quick little overview for you guys to see kind of what's going on. I'm not seeing comments. Make sure I can see those. Here we go. Okay. So if you have questions about this, feel free to ask while I'm talking. That's totally cool. I'll try to answer those as we go if you have questions about some of this stuff. But if you're running Buffer, let me just show you what it can do. So with the free version of Buffer, you won't see this. You won't see these like little bars that have the times scheduled. You can change those to whatever you want them to be. You can set up a schedule, but the free version won't show that. Even though you can set times, you can have slots that you set up. It just won't show you this, so you can click directly on it and schedule a post. So I've just clicked it. Forgive my internet today. I'm on Suddenlink, and in Texas, if you know anything about Suddenlink, you probably hate them just like I do. So you bring up drop your image, drop your captions. They even let you schedule your first comment. I don't recommend doing that. Instagram themselves have said that kind of triggers spammy type stuff in the algorithm, especially if it's just a bunch of hashtags that you're putting in that first comment. Then you got location. This API, I believe, it does not. Instagram API no longer allows you to search for like people. Let me see if it'll work here. Let's say, yeah, see, it's not searching. I got flipping Grammarly over here running too. Slowing everything down. It doesn't search for anybody. So if you want to tag someone in Buffer, I don't believe the Instagram algorithm allows any third party to do that anymore because of privacy issues, that they had to take that out of the API. So if you want to tag someone in Instagram, what I do is I have to look them up, make sure I type it correctly. And then when it posts, it actually tags them. But you just can't like, it won't do what it used to do. Like you start to type something, and because you're logged in as Instagram here, it'll find your contacts and people you're trying to tag and let you just select from a list. It doesn't do that anymore. And I don't know that any of them do. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of them do that because I'm pretty sure it's the Instagram algorithm that stopped that. But so just find them, hook them up. And then you even have emojis that you can drop in that, add a little flavor to your post. And you've got all the basic ones from Facebook here. What else? All right. So if you want to edit and you don't want to use that slot, you can actually hit edit and pick your time. And so with this drop down, you can pick the slots that are coming up. See, these have already happened, but I can choose one that's upcoming, or I can hit switch to custom time and just pick what I want it to be randomly. So I can decide what that needs to be and then hit done. And then it's now set up for whatever time I picked there. So that's basically how to do it. Now this campaign button is kind of new. That's pretty sweet. I'll show you what this does in a minute. If I want to add it to a campaign, so it's kind of like email automations. So if you have like several emails that are tagged in a row for posts, like if you have a campaign on social media going, you can actually assign them to a campaign now. And this is on this version I have. I have this. The $12 a month version, I can actually assign it to a campaign. So if you've got a giving campaign, or if you've got an event coming up and you want to say this is a fall festival campaign, you've planned 6 posts to go out. It will track all the campaign posts, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever you've got set up as a platform. And if you tag it with this campaign, it brings it into the analytics for that campaign, and you can kind of see what performed well and how it did. As well as schedule things out and have kind of this overview of what you're doing to promote that event. It's a super cool little addition that I don't know if anybody else does right now. It's this hybrid of email automation on social media for campaigns. It's really cool, and I've done a couple tests, as you can see, so I could just tag it as that. And if I don't know, I have to have an image, but I don't have anything to post right now, so I'm just going to go away here. But that is a cool little feature for Buffer. Now, I mentioned you could change how your time slots and things. You can also change how you look at it. You can look at it by the week. It opens up a whole new page, and you can see the whole week at a time of what's going on if you want to look at a calendar view. Good gravy. This is moving slow. Okay, I'm so sorry. All right, scroll down. Man, so much going on. So you can see where those slots are. Past ones don't appear unless you posted something. So, yeah, anyway, it's overloading the system here. Man. All right, so obviously you can see I have like a Seminary of Hard Knocks group, and then this is the page for that, and then my Twitter, and then my LinkedIn, and I have a ton here. Here's my Pinterest, which we'll talk about here in a second. I post to Pinterest every week when I have a blog or a podcast. That's really all I do, but it is a high traffic source for me. And we talked about this last week a little. I'm going to get into it a little bit today. And then for 8-bit communications, I have a Facebook and LinkedIn and Church Club. So I have all this, and there's a limit to what you can put in there. Even on the paid plan, there's a limit, but it's a high limit. So I forget what it is, but obviously I've got a ton of stuff here that's for a typical church. You wouldn't need all that. So there's plenty of room to share. Now, what I also like about Buffer is they have this little "What would you like to share" bar. So you saw me click here on the Instagram where I'm selected right now, and it went to go that way. It goes to Instagram at that time slot. Now I can also schedule like this if I have multiple places to put a piece of content, and then we'll wait for it. So it brings up that same kind of box, but now I can select, I also want it to go here and here and here. And when you hit Pinterest, it brings up like what board and what's the thing. It's so annoying, but it has all these different options. LinkedIn, Facebook group. Now I create the content, put in the image. And when I get done, let's just say I go, this is going to look crazy. And then let's just add an image. God, Lord forbid we do this with the speed of internet I'm working with right now. Profile pic. Here we go. Let's just do a profile pic. There's that guy. There's that fella. I'm going to write that. That's the caption. There's that fella. Veers. I don't know. I don't care. Grammarly saves today. There's one of the great things about Grammarly. And so then when I get it actually punched in here, I can set it up as a campaign, whatever I want to do, and it attaches it to all these. So then I can hit customize for each network. Okay, so see how it brings them all up now. So now I can open up Twitter and put in hashtags for Twitter, whatever. And it does look for hashtags, and it does help with that. Twitter Jesus. Why not? So now I've got that. Now I can click here on Facebook, and I can format it for that. Remove any hashtags that were in there, because you don't want a hashtag on Facebook unless you're in a group or something. And then there's that fellow on Instagram. Then we can do our drop down, whatever hashtag, Instagood. And then notice it has this for me to edit. If there's a video, you can change your screen, your thumbnail, which you should look at, so you don't have a black screen on your preview wall. Whenever you go back to look at the video, there's something there that looks like the video. And then LinkedIn, and I can do all this. Now when I'm ready, I just hit add to queue, and it just pops it into the next available slot to all of those places. Or I can hit this little drop and it says share now. I can just kick them all out there now. Or if I have things in the queue that are ready to go today and it's next, I can hit share next, and it bumps everything down. Because I'm like, I need to share this before I share that other stuff. So anything in the queue, it needs to go out first. I can hit share next, or I can just schedule it, which brings up this same window again of just scheduling all of these to a slot. So all I have to say, pretty powerful little tool. I really like Buffer quite a bit. Last thing I want to show you, because a lot of people have questions about this, is how do you change these time slots? How do I decide what goes where? It's a little weird, but I'm going to show you how to do it, because if you don't know this, you may be looking around for a bit. All right, go to settings. This is Buffer, Ashley. I'm using Buffer right now. I'm on the first tier paid plan. I think it's $12 bucks a month. So when you drop down settings, it brings all this up, and it's super distracting. Did you notice there's a new menu? No, many people don't. So right here under General is what you're looking at. It's actually a tab. So go to this Posting Schedule tab under Settings. And that is where you can change all the times to what you want to do. You can add a posting time. You pick one, it just throws it on all of them. You can actually go down here, and if there's a certain time per day, so this little X, I don't want that to happen on Wednesday, or I'm not going to post anything at that time on that day. You can clear it, and it won't be an option. Or you can just clear them all. And this is another little feature. They've got some of these buttons up here that are really great. Let me scroll up. Pause queue is a really good one. Say you've got some promotional stuff going out or event stuff going out, and then a national tragedy happens. Pause. Right? You don't want to be like, someone has just been murdered somewhere, and you're like, hey guys, have you heard about this great event? It's like super insensitive at the time. So you want to pause so nothing else goes out. Really handy button to have when you manage multiple accounts. You don't really know what's going on, or you've set it and forget it a little bit, and you're like, oh my God, let's just stop. Just stop the machine. One big button, hit one big red button. They should make it red. They should make the button red. That would be better. Come on, Buffer. Anyway, that's a pause button for the whole queue. So let me show you campaigns real quick, and then we'll get out of this. If you're going to make a campaign, hit the campaign button. This is new. You can see the campaign. I haven't done anything with these. You see how they're set up. I'm building the campaign here. I can also go to this tab where it says sent, which shows me what has been already gone out for this campaign. I can create posts for this campaign. You can see these are blank space holders. So what would happen is I'd start creating posts and you'd see them line up here for the content that I'm creating. No matter what channel they're going to, the content that I schedule here is going out here. And you'll be able to see when it's posting. So this is like an overview of your entire campaign. So you can create a post, edit the campaign, delete it completely, see what's sent. And here's another one, view a report. So if you have things that go out and you want to see what's going on with these, how many likes, comments you've gotten on each thing, that type of basic stuff, you can hit view report and it'll show you an overview. I think you'll see it on these boxes too in the sent thing. So like when you go to the sent tab, you'll see how things did, like stats will be there in that box on that post that's already gone out. But if you want to see an overview, like a spreadsheet, it'll CSV it right here in view report. So you can take a look at it. If you're a data nerd and really like that kind of stuff, then that'll help you keep it all in one place. Or you want to track numbers and bring it into a database or dashboard of some sort that's for your reporting and things. You can easily just export that as a CSV, then upload it to your dashboard, and you got all those numbers. Anyway, it's crazy that this thing is $12 a month. It's crazy. It does so much, and I don't even use 20% of it, to be honest. I use it to schedule and keep track of what I'm doing on all these different platforms, because if I didn't, you see how many I've got. Imagine at a church, you feel the same way. You know, I've got like 10 to 12 over here. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I have the limit. I think that might be the limit of platforms for the first tier of paid plans. Most churches, you won't even hit that. You might have your student ministry in here, your main stuff, and that might be 6 platforms. If you have kids, that might be 9. If you got a Facebook and Instagram and a Twitter, which you probably don't, but if you do a Facebook page, a Facebook group, and an Instagram, for each of those ministries, you got 9, so you got an extra one. And then you do your church, 3 of those, and then you got your pastor stuff in here. Be a great place for you to navigate. And what's really cool about it is that there's only one, you can only have one user. That's the negative here. But you can share that with each other and everybody logs in, but you just can't tell who's doing what. But if you have people logging in to schedule things, then you'll be able to see what's coming ahead of time. That's time sensitive. So if it's scheduled and you don't see it, it's going to go out. So there's a negative to that. That's why I like to use Trello in a calendar, put all the content in there, plan it. That way everybody can see it. And then when we're approved on that, we bring it over to Buffer and I just pop it in really fast. So that's kind of how I'm using Buffer. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Hopefully that helps. I got another thing I want to show you guys. Let's talk about Pinterest really quick. Let's see. That's what I wanted to do? I think it is. Yeah, let's definitely talk about Pinterest here. All right, but first let's talk about hashtags. All right, just really quick, we're going to review hashtags, and I like to use these. I think of it like hashtags like a T-shirt. Okay, you got different sizes of T-shirts. You have small, medium, large, extra large. If you went to the Instagood Summit, you'll hear Dustin Stout talk about this, that when you're looking at hashtags, you're building that 30 hashtags that you can put on each post. It needs to be a mix of hashtags. If you are only going to do 10, still mix it up. So you need a couple of small ones that are like under 100. That might be your branded hashtag for your church. You need a couple of medium-sized ones that might be 500 to 1,000 kind of posts on that. And you can search all that in Instagram if you want and just build a list. I have a spreadsheet where I have here's the hashtag, here's how much its typical size is. And then I've basically put them in order, kind of from largest to smallest, so that I can see of those 30 what's working. And then every month I check those to make sure they're still good and there's not, somebody has taken over it and started posting a bunch of porn or something to one of them. That's something you got to keep watching. But I definitely have a small, medium, large, extra large kind of mentality when it comes to hashtags, just because honestly I was talking to Dustin Stout, and so the medium one's about up to 1,000. Then your large will be anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000, somewhere in that range, 10,000, however you want to define it, and then your extra large is like 100,000 millions, those huge hashtags. And you might even say your large hashtag can go up to like 500,000 or 100,000. It kind of depends on how big your city is and how big that genre that you're trying to reach is. Whatever's popular in your church. Like if you're branded hashtag, if you're talking about a branded hashtag, that's just for your church. Then you got city hashtags, and those could be medium to extra large, depending on where you live. But then you have in your city, I would also recommend searching for hashtags that are variations of your city's name. Like here in Frisco, we have the city hashtags are Frisco TX, because Frisco, Texas. And I don't technically live in Frisco, but I'm close to that. That's one of the bigger hashtags. And so those are big city hashtags. But we also have one that is I love Frisco. And that's a large to extra large hashtag that a lot of influencers, bloggers, people like that use when they find landmarks in Frisco, things that they love in Frisco, little restaurants that are great. There's actually there was a campaign by a large marketing agency here recently that used that. And so it's a popular hashtag. So it's a way to jump in to a trend hashtag that's going on, that's pretty large, that's not just your city's name. So I would just type into Instagram the name of your city and look at some of the ones that pop up. Because when you do that, you'll see how big those hashtags are, and you can take a couple of those for locations. And if you're trying to reach your community with Instagram and get in front of people that don't normally see what you see, they might follow those trendy hashtags before they would follow your city hashtag. For your city, you're going to find events, concerts, government officials, Chamber of Commerce. You're going to find a lot of people using those, or people that are just tagging that because they don't know about the other hashtag. But that trendy hashtag is where you're going to find some influencers. And that is kind of what we're talking about with hashtag marketing is you find those influential people by using influential hashtags that can get you in front of new markets, new audiences, new people. So anyway, I think that's really important. And so that's my spiel on hashtags. Let's share my screen again. I want to talk about Pinterest really quick. I know that's why you're here today. It's really not, probably, but Pinterest is an interesting animal. Okay. I wanted to show you what I made for a church I worked at recently. They don't use this anymore. When I left, I turned over all the passwords, and this hasn't updated at all. And this is typical. It's not a slight on them. Most churches are not leveraging Pinterest at all. They don't think about it, don't know how to do it. But I'll tell you, on my blog, my website, a huge chunk of traffic comes from Pinterest because I post once a week. I also have some boards, and I'll show you those here in a second, but they might be relevant to you as a church communicator. But that alone gets a lot of Pinterest, and I just go in and update once every 6 months. I hardly ever open this thing. And I think, what is my viewership? I think I'm at 31,000 views a month, something like that. I don't even use it. And the pin that's the most popular is for my 88 Ideas PDF that I offer for free. I didn't even make that pin. Somebody else made that pin, and it's gone all over. There's like 4 different people that have pinned that to Pinterest. And those 4 pins, because I can track it, have gone all over the internet. And I'm like, I don't know who these people are, So it's a great traffic creation device for content, but it's an idea place. And the church has a lot of good ideas, man. It'd be a really great place to put them. So I'm going to show you what I did with Hope Fellowship. It's in Frisco. I'm going to show you what I did with it. I just made 3 boards, and there's some hidden boards, but I'm not logged in anymore, so I can't see those. But the ones that are front facing are the ones I think are most important, just to give you some ideas. So here we go. I'll shut up and let's do this. Share screen. Boom. All right. So this is the page I created for them, and you'll see these 3 boards. Now, these 3 boards are I can't see one of them. Come on. That didn't help. What am I doing? Here. There you go. Can you see that? Cool. Parenting, about hope, and inspiring quotes. Now, I didn't do too much. I was working on this right before I left the church, so I didn't do a ton with it. Sometimes I would use this content to find things that I can share on our social media. At first, I tried just sharing the actual pin, and the graphic resolution on Pinterest is not awesome. So when you do that, it's not a clear graphic. It's not, it's pixelated. So I had to kind of do a workaround. But let's start off with what you can do with Pinterest. Pinterest is about ideas, right? Pinterest is about sharing ideas with each other. There's no real social aspect to Pinterest. You can talk to people, you can message them, but it is really, there's no commenting really. I mean, it's just not very interactive when it comes to that type of social media, but it's still a social media platform. And the reason it's social is because we're sharing ideas, not sharing comments and opinions on things, unless it's in the content, right? So one of the things I think every church should do is on Pinterest, you start a page and you should do an about board. Here's what I did. I'm going to bring this up. I created an about board, and all this is I went to all of our major pages, if it will load. Come on. I went to all of our pages of our website, student ministry, women's ministry, kids ministry, and I pinned that page to this board so people can find this board, follow this board, and learn all the things about our church. So you'll see there, yeah. Reengage is a marriage ministry. This is baptism. I wish they would just show you what there's no text. So this is young adults, volunteering. Regeneration is our, what's it called? Addiction recovery type program. Connect Track was the next steps class. So let's look at that one, because that's pretty powerful. Let's check that out. Learn about hope, explore membership or baptism, begin serving. All right, so load it. Here's all the info you need. There should be text with this. Curse you, sudden link. All right, so I guess I didn't add. You can comment, but nobody does it, except on huge pins, I guess. So basically, it's just an image. Dude, come on. Better examples. Where are they? Don't you love that? Like, isn't this cool? And then you find out, not really. Let's look at Reengage. I always worked on Reengage quite a bit. Here we go. Yeah. So this is the little blurb that comes from the page. And then if you want to go to the site, it links to that actual page, I believe. Let's see what happens. Opening a new window should take you to the Reengage page. Right. Here we go. So simple little way for people to find content on Pinterest that they might pin and share, but also, people are on there for ideas. So if they're looking for marriage ministry help, then my wife took this picture, by the way, you're going to find all that there. So that's the about board. I think you should do one of those for sure. And if you just set all that up and never do anything else with it, then, at least you've got that out there. And Pinterest has a way of like churning content really, really fast or really well for you. But I would at least tell people about this board and ask them to follow it. So ask people who are on Pinterest in your church to follow you on Pinterest and just follow all your boards. And so with that comes this pin, and they might find things, and you can tell them to pin these to their boards. If they have a student and you're like, hey, we can share these kinds of things, because there are people that really love to share ideas on Pinterest. You can tell this only has 28 followers. Like I said, we didn't really do much with it, but it is a good system. It does work when it comes to organizing who you are as a church. So let's look at the next boards. The other thing I thought is, like, if I'm sharing ideas on any blog content, parenting stuff is great. So I just found a bunch of blogs, things I thought were great for parents, resources, crafts, just whatever I could share for parents. And right now, during COVID-19, stay-at-home stuff happening, it would be a gold mine to start a Pinterest board for parents at your church, that you could just share ideas like, hey, you need something to do with kids, Bible studies for kids, resources for kids, crafts for kids. I mean, even if you're going to build a, Mission Impossible laser maze to go through out of string that you've taped to the walls everywhere for them to kind of shimmy through. I mean, that kind of stuff is there, and it's helpful when kids are at home, and parents who are trying to work that have, not that you could do that while you're trying to work, but, parents that have kids at home that are trying to work and need things to do with their kids or to occupy their kids other than a screen. would really appreciate that kind of content. So if you're looking for what do I post on social that helps parents, that's a great gold mine for Instagram especially. And then I just put a bunch of inspiring quotes because that's what you do on Instagram. You just, on Pinterest. You just collect a lot of inspiring quotes, things that, are great, that you might be able to come back later in. And what I would do with these is I would use this to find the quote. I wouldn't necessarily use this graphic. And then I would go make my own branded version of that quote for a graphic. So be a warrior, not a worrier. Things like that just are encouraging, based in scriptures, these kinds of posts, just give me ideas. I just need ideas. But if you're on Pinterest and you see this kind of stuff, this is the kind of thing people like to pin too. So when you bring it in as a pin board, it helps, share some of these ideas around. So you got to be careful with this, because if you think one of these is great and your pastor does not, and that can be problematic. So make sure you're very much in line with the theology and practice of your church when you're doing this kind of thing. But Pinterest is a place for this kind of stuff to really do well. So that's what I did. That's how I set up our Pinterest board for our church. And there were things like, I think I had an exercise ideas board. I think I had, what I did do that you can't see right now because I hid it was at Christmas and Easter, I'd do recipes. So recipe boards are awesome. And one of the things you could do, this is just an idea I'm having right now. If you created a recipes for small group meetings, recipes for Bible study meetings kind of pin board, that's what you called it. And then you just put a bunch of recipes in there. Share that with your small group leaders and they can get ideas. And it's like, let's try a new recipe every time we meet. Somebody makes it, we try it and it's fun. That kind of stuff is cool for putting out on social, but you don't necessarily want to just take it from here and just throw it out there on your Instagram. Take it from here, throw it out on Facebook. But it's a place to get these ideas. And if they're on Pinterest, they can share it and they can find it. But if you want to share this idea with your people, it's a great place to find an idea, create some content, and then you've got awesome content out there that your people are going to love. So I recommend using Pinterest for ideas, especially for content. And if you didn't, I'm going to take you to mine really quick, because I said I would, to show you some of the boards that I'm working on. If you're in church communications, there are some boards that I have I would love for you to follow. 31.7 thousand monthly viewers. Boom. It's awesome. So I'm gonna go to my boards. I post anything about where my YouTube channel gets pinned here. Here's my store, 8-bit ideas. I just needed some design ideas I thought were really great. Here's my blogs, podcasts, but here's the boards that you're going to care about. Mailer inspiration, if you're doing a mailer, then leadership principles, marketing and communications, lots of great infographics on Pinterest, lots of great tip sheets, things that'll help you improve as a communicator, ratios of all the different sizes of social media platforms, just tons of stuff in that folder. If you want to follow that folder, go follow it. Find me on Pinterest and follow it. There's a ton of great stuff in there, and that's probably the one I update the most. And I just cleaned it out. That's why there's only 104 in there. I used to have like 300 something in there. And I was like, that's too much. Nobody's going to pay attention to all that. Ministry aids. I forget what that kind of is. Church bulletin inspiration. Anybody looking for bulletin inspiration for designs? Church first impressions, church signage, church stage design, church announcement ideas, church acoustic tiling ideas, writing ideas. I think I got recipes, Doctor Who, Star Wars quotes. There's another one. Christmas set design, kids ideas. I only have 7 in there. I haven't really done graphic design. So I got some graphic design things, SEO and technical web stuff. That's new. Memes for punching the air. Yes. Harry Potter. We did a 8-bit video game version of like Minecraft for my son. And we got a bunch of ideas for the party on Pinterest and put it in a board. And my wife and I came up with how to do that. And then bathroom signage. Look at that one. Seeing eye chart on the bottom of the toilet lid. That's pretty good. I tend to just find the stuff that entertains me as well, not necessarily stuff that I would really use. But feel free to go follow me on all these boards. They may help you. to come up with content. And the reason this is on the Insta Good Show is because these are great ideas for social media content that you can transfer to Instagram. And it is a great place to find just interesting, quirky, cool new ideas, funny ideas that can really breathe some life into your social media that might just be announcement right now, because there's so much that needs to be announced. But you can mix it in with some of this stuff and not have to think too hard to create it. I mean, if we're thinking really hard about social media content all the time, you might be overthinking it. And there's so many things that you've posted before you can share. There's so many things out there on Pinterest that are just waiting for you to grab. There's so many things that you can do on Instagram without having to create something new. You can create a new version of something, but that's not hard. What's hard is coming up with, what are we going to post? Why should we post it? What's it about? The whole minutia of the system is what wears you out. Once you know what you're doing, you can just make that. I mean, that may be technically hard, but it's just a set amount of time and a skill set. But if you're the strategist trying to figure out what to post, that's where the real brain power comes in. That can wear you out. And if you're doing that every day, and you're trying to come up with fresh ideas every day, then that's gonna exhaust you. So I would recommend using sources like Pinterest to find great ideas. And don't feel like you're just surfing around and playing around the internet. You're doing your job. You're gathering ideas for content. That is very, very valuable, because I promise nobody else on your staff is probably doing that. They're just happening upon things, and they just, you know what we should do today in the next 5 minutes is this crazy great thing. And that's why that comes to you, because they're not thinking about it. So if you're thinking ahead like this and you've got sources, it really makes this a lot easier. Then you can handle those little put out the fire things a little faster. All right. So that is Pinterest. That's all I'm going to say on that. It's a great platform. I would love for you to follow me on Pinterest, follow me on Instagram. We're going to connect there. You'll see some ideas there that might help you out. I know that the church bulletin, stage designs, first impression stuff, SEO, marketing kind of stuff that you'd be looking for, all of that are on boards for me. So feel free to follow those boards. I posted them before in the group. I can probably post links in the show notes here in the comments, but just go follow me on Pinterest. I'll just do that. I'll just say, here's my Pinterest link. Just go follow me there. And then you guys can find all those boards if you watch the show. So that's the Insta Good Show for today. I hope that you feel like you've gotten a lot better at being a communicator, that you're getting Insta Good at Instagram. And I really appreciate you watching today. Share this with your friends. Share this around people. Tag people below if they need to see it. And Ashley, thank you for commenting today. I really appreciate you. And any questions you might have, drop them in the comments, and I'll try to get to them later. And you guys have a great day. See ya.